Dear students, good afternoon. I'm really pleased to be able to welcome you for our second event for Erasmus Days, which will be a workshop about opportunities for student mobility for study exchange. To start with, I would like to state out why are we encouraging every student to take part in at least one Erasmus student mobility. Not only that the student mobility is an opportunity for you to improve your knowledge and competences, but it also enables you to improve your communication, language, and interpersonal skills, as well as develop skills highly valued by future employers. And also, you can gain a deeper understanding of a new country and culture. So who can apply for Erasmus student mobilities? All students of University of Primorska who have a status of either full-time or part-time students, and also have not yet used 12 months of mobility under Erasmus program at their current cycle. So you can actually benefit from Erasmus exchange opportunity multiple times, but you need to be aware that your total time abroad may not exceed 12 months within one study cycle. Erasmus program conditions for study exchange are covering all mobilities in duration from 2 to 12 months, but usually for study exchanges, we are talking about semester. So you can either pick to go for a study exchange in first, second, or both semesters. Countries included in Erasmus program are all members of the European Union: Liechtenstein, Turkey, Norway, Iceland, Republic of North Macedonia, and Serbia. What is important to state out is the fact that institution that you pick to go for a study exchange needs to have an agreement with University of Primorska, or needs to have needs to be in the process of signing one. Therefore, to every open call, there is attached a list of partner institutions. So you can select only institutions on that list for the study exchange. Also, I would like to emphasize that there is another Erasmus call, which is actually covering study exchanges in non-European countries. For example, which includes Montenegro, South Africa, Uzbekistan, USA, China, Israel. Outgoing students from University of Primorska have an opportunity to take part in mobility lasting 5 months, longer stay, or for 14 days as a short stay mobility. And this call has an open deadline, which means that you can apply whenever through a student information system, but it's important that you submit along all the required documents. In general, we recommend this type of study exchanges for doctoral and master students, and for students in higher years of bachelor. But however, there is no limitation. So every student can apply. All the information you will receive today are accessible through FAMNIT webpage. Therefore, I strongly recommend you to subscribe to receiving FAMNIT news for students. And also you can access all the open calls through mobility for students, outgoing students, and then you can select the call you are searching for. And here you can find call with all appendixes, including list of partner institutions, motivation letter, co-financing options, and online language support. Okay, and now the important question, how to apply. First, you need to keep an eye out for the announcement of the open call. each study year, new Erasmus call is announced with a fixed deadline, most often in January. The call is intended to cover studies abroad for the upcoming academic year. This means that this upcoming January, you can apply for study exchanges in next academic year, 24-25, for first and second semesters. So first step is to find an open call. The second one is to carefully review the partner institution list. On that basis, you need to choose 3 institutions to which you would like to go for your study exchange. Afterwards, you can submit your application through Student Information System, adding motivation letter and CV as necessary attachments. For CV, we are recommending the usage of Europass platform. And for motivation letter, it needs to be stated out that it has obligatory template you need to use. Let's see this motivation letter template for a second. It's pretty straightforward. So you need to first fill in your choices of institution by your preference call. And afterwards, you need to reason why you choose this institution. For example, you can justify the choice by answering the questions, why did you choose these institutions? How it will affect your personal and study development by going to the study exchange to this institution, and also what are your expectations, study and personally wise, from mobility, but with emphasis on the study part. After application deadline is closed, the selection will be made. And the students who will be selected for the Erasmus exchange will be accordingly notified. And afterwards, which is the most important thing before going to your mobility, the student, the home faculty, and the host institution need to sign online learning agreement, which agrees the contents of the mobility and the process of recognition of learning outcomes obtained abroad. Online learning agreement for studies is available through OLA platform. It's pretty easy to use. And simultaneously with these online documents, another internal form needs to be filled out, which is primarily its primarily objective is that is the basis for the recognition of all courses and study obligations you will take you will take part in your study exchange. And after your return back to Koper, it will be the basis for the recognition in your index. But most surely, all the selected students will receive further information about how to fill these documents and to what to be especially pay attention to. So this is just like briefly mentioning. And also, you can access all Erasmus relevant documents through FAMNIT webpage again. You need to choose mobility for students, information for students going abroad, and then you choose relevant documentation for the mobility. And here you can find all the documents pertinent to your study exchange, including the documents before the mobility and after the mobility. Also, there is financial support available. After your selection, you will be directly notified about the application for financial funds for the study exchange, which is separate application than the one primarily applying for Student Information System. But as I said, you will receive all the information upon your selection. Which, importantly, the basis for concluding a financial agreement is completed and finalized signed learning agreements. All the inquiries about financial agreements and scholarships can be directed to erasmus.studenti@upr.si. As I said, the top priority before going to the mobility is completing those two documents, as well as there is one really useful tool called online language support, which is designed to help Erasmus participants to improve their language skills, as well as learn new language. This platform can also be used to evaluate your English proficiency before your mobility, for example, as well. What is important for the students who are required to apply for temporary residence permit is that it's essential to consider the timing of the mobility. Thus, we are usually advising all the students who needs to apply for the permit or its prolongation to plan the mobility in the second half of the study year, so in the second semester, with which you can ensure that there is enough time to sort out the permit. And of course, for all the additional questions or inquiries, we are always at your disposal in our international office. And also you can contact us at international@famnit.upr.si. To conclude with, the student mobility, it's not only a perfect opportunity to improve your study skills and competences, but it also is an amazing opportunity to meet new people and to expand your social connections. So without further ado, I will pass the microphone to Miloja, which will briefly present you student organization, Erasmus Student Network.
Thank you. Okay, Erasmus Student Network, or ESN, is a student organization that is very important for exchange students, like when you're going to your exchange, but it can also be important upon your return from an exchange, but I will tell more about it later. So first, we have this map of all of the countries that have ESN. So also you see the countries in pink, Kazakhstan, Macedonia, and Montenegro. They actually already have their sections. So the point of this map is to show that ESN is a huge international organization that's basically present in almost all of the European countries. It includes more than 15,000 volunteers with more than 500 local sections in more than 40 countries. It also covers more than a whole thousand of higher education institutions and helping more than 350,000 international students. Our causes are shown here. So they include education and youth, culture, social inclusion, health and well-being, employability, and environmental sustainability. And this goes both ways. So it's meant also for, it's meant for the exchange students, but it's also meant for the ESN members, meaning that you get the experience and valuable skills also when you're like an exchange student, but also as a member. ESN Primorska, this is our local section. It has been founded in January 2022. So we're still a relatively young section. And as I already said, we are a non-profit organization. ESN is made for students by students. We promote student exchanges and internationalization. and we're here to help Erasmus students meet new people and get new experiences. So yeah, what ESN Primorska usually does is help with accommodation and papers and documentation at the administrative unit. This is before the arrival or right upon the arrival. And after that, we organize different types of events, workshops, trips, and similar stuff. And yeah, as I already said, the goal is for the exchange students to have as much experience as possible, and get to know other students, get to know the country that they're visiting, in this case, Slovenia. And of course, we're also here for to give answers to any other questions students may have. Our mascot is Jože Primorec. He's the face of ESN Primorska. Here are some of his characteristics. Obviously, he's a computer science student, since most of our members are computer science students. And he also kind of represents all of us. So he speaks Slovene, Arabic, English, Macedonian, and Serbian, because we have members who speak all of these languages, etc., etc. And yeah, people just love taking pictures with him. Yeah, you can contact us through the link tree. You can scan the QR code if you want, because there you will get all of the information that you need, and like an easier approach, access to us. So yeah, I can present our current board. Our president is Jelena. I'm the vice president. And we also have Dasha as treasurer, Lana as PR manager, and Jovana as HR manager. And I think we are one of the few sections that actually have an HR manager, and it's really helping us function as a section. So I already told that ESN can also be important for students who are coming back from an exchange. And that is because of the famous post-Erasmus depression. Because upon your return from the exchange, you might miss the international environment, all of the experiences and all of the people that you had. So ESN is an amazing opportunity to get that while being at home, because you will still have lots of international people around you. You will be able to attend and organize many different events. So at the same time, it's very fun to be a member, but you also get some responsibilities, and with doing the responsibilities, you get a valuable experience.
Let's continue to presentations or stories from our students.
So I would invite you to have a quick introduction words from your side to tell us more about your study exchange experience, especially because you are now currently doing your Erasmus exchanges abroad.
Sure. So hello from my side. My name is Milan Mirovic. Currently, I am in the second year of master studies of computer science. Let me just close myself. It's a bit weird. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, so second year master student, and on my currently I am on exchange in Czech Republic on the Charles University. Before that, I was on exchange in my third year of bachelor's as well. And I'm sorry, I need to mute my other apps. I hope they are not disturbing. Okay, so as well, I was part of mobility in my third year of bachelor's, in which I went as well to the Czech Republic. In that, back then I went to Ústí nad Labem city. And yeah, after this, I'm planning some other small mobilities. But yeah, I don't know what in particular should I say. Beside like those general ideas, I would like more to answer particular questions. I didn't make some presentation in particular, but I can talk about how the whole process go or what I did. Since, for example, yesterday or 2 days ago, actually on the weekend, I went on some hiking with actually ESN that Mila was presenting as well, the organization over here from Charles University. The day before that, I went with my student body, which is the students from the hosting university. It could be part of ESN usually. Student that is in somehow, let's say, in charge of helping me if I need some help. We went on climbing together. Like it was my first time on the Via Ferrata is the name. What they do in Czech Republic? Like they combine. They have those things on climbing rocks outside. So that was my first time doing that. It was so stressful, but yeah. So on exchange, I like tried new things as well. It's not just about studying. But beside of that, on the faculty, currently I'm actually in the robotics lab, in the robotics lab, in which is part of my courses. I'm trying to listen to other courses as electives that I am now taking for masters. That should help me with my master thesis in the end. So yeah, this is like some overview, I would say.
You, Milan, that sounds amazing. Thank you for now. Can we hear some introduction words from Igor as well?
Can everybody hear me? Just so I can be sure.
Yes, we hear you. Thank you.
Okay, good. Hello, everyone. My name is Igor. I'm a third-year bioinformatics student in UP Famnit, and I am on my Erasmus exchange program in the wonderful country of Malta, actually. And I have to say, it's really, really hot in here, even though it's October, so it's still like 30 degrees. So, which is nice because I can always go for a swim. But other than that, this first month actually has been very nice. Also, I met a lot of people. We already started class actually in September here. So I got the chance to meet a lot of professor and classmates as well, and they're actually pretty good. So far, I'm pretty satisfied with the program, the structure, and the organizations of this university. Actually, right now, as Ira knows, I'm actually in the process of changing my online learning agreement because I actually have some issues with my timetable and schedule. But other than that, here has been very nice as well. It's a really, really big community also here. They also have the ESN organization as well. And with them, I actually got the chance to actually explore as well the entire Malta. We also had a hiking this Sunday, actually. So I guess that's pretty popular university through in the entirety of Europe. But other than that, I can also say that as far as classes go and visa procedures, if there are any non-EU students actually also here in Slovenia, there is just a little less, actually not a little less, it's a little bit more complicated in Slovenia to get visas, but it shouldn't be that much of a problem. So if anybody actually plans on going to Malta for an Erasmus, they can also message me. I'm also student tutor for for our bioinformatics course. So that's also something that I can help people with. Other than that, I can also say that this past, like I said, month, I actually got the chance to make some new, have some new experiences. We already basically traveled to the entire country of Malta, even though it's very small, as you can imagine. The people here are very nice. The professors are very good. And the overall, I have a very positive experience. So I don't know if there's anything else you want me to tell you.
You, Igor, for now. We'll pass the words to Milan, who is joining us in person. Sorry, Luca, who is joining us in person to tell a little bit more about his experience during his study exchange in the second semester of previous study year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luca. I'm an absolvent here of bioinformatics, and I've been in the second semester of my third year. I've been to Finland. I've been there for 5 months, and I can tell you that it's really nice there. Finland is a lovely country, although in the beginning, in January and February, it can be a little cold. After that, you have no worries. It gets warmer, and there's a lot of activities there you can do. Finnish people are pretty welcoming and really nice, lovely. They love when new students come to their country, and they have organized actually a lot of excursions, trips. I've been to Rovaniemi, which is like this official Santa Claus village. I've been even more north to a little small village. It's called Sariselka, and there's cottages there, saunas, snow. You can actually see the northern lights from there. And we actually been even further north, up in Norway, which is on the Barents Sea, and we took a dip in the Barents Sea, which was like 2 degrees Celsius. So that was fun. And actually, we had multiple excursions to Helsinki. We also went from Helsinki to Stockholm. So you can actually visit all the Nordic countries there. And they actually have a high drinking culture. So they love drinking there. You also like partying and everything. It's also pretty good place to be. A lot of clubs, nightclubs, a lot of hanging out. So yeah, it was really nice there. Would recommend. And if you don't like winter and cold, I recommend going in the second semester, because then it will get nicer and warmer as time goes on. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Luca. So
Thank
it
you.
sounds like business with pleasure. So for sure, there is multiple reasons why to participate in study exchange. Now I open the floor for all the questions from our audience. So maybe if there are any questions.
For now, well, I have a question maybe for whichever student. How hard do you find the application process? How do you think, how complicated it is in general to, go through all the motions to apply and then be accepted, and then especially to coordinate all the learning agreements and everything? What do you think? Igor?
I think I can answer that, if that's okay.
Mhm.
So in general, first for the application process, it's actually not that hard. I mean, it's the CV, motivational letter, and if there's something third one, I can't remember. In general, they're not that difficult to actually make. I mean, for the that letter, we actually have that. How do you say it?
Mhm. The online learning agreement? Sorry.
No, the this motivational letter, we have that already
Yeah.
document already with the questions, so that's actually
Yeah.
pretty helpful. The
Okay.
CV as well isn't that actually difficult to make, so the application process is fine. And for the online learning agreement, I also think that it's not really hard to make. It's only time consuming, because you have to go through all of the classes that the hosting university has to offer, and to check if they are compatible with the classes in our university. But at the end of the day, I successfully completed my preliminary oral agreement in like 2 weeks, I think.
Mhm.
So I think that at the end of the day, it's not really that hard, as long as you actually want to do this. But yeah, actually, I agree that it's okay. I mean, it's not that difficult.
Great. You mentioned the motivation letter. So last year, for the first time, it was a more structured. It's actually like a form to fill out, right?
Yes, yes.
So that was probably a bit more helpful, because you had to look through the course catalogs of certain university ahead of time. Did you find this helpful or not? Did it like make you to research different options, or were you like, no, I want to go to Malta and I'll just think about the courses later?
Well, to be honest, the form was really, really helpful, because when I take a look at just the motivational letter in general, I always had a problem with like what to actually write there, what are some key points. While this form actually helped me a lot of it, And I did look at the courses ahead of time a little bit, but only like briefly, just to like have an idea in general, what would I take for the courses there. But when I started to actually make the online learning agreement, I really went in depth with them. So
Okay, great. So all in all, helpful, and the process not so complicated, like you said. What
yes.
about What about you, Milan? What do you think? Is the process complicated? I mean, you had a few more experiences in applying for certain Erasmus exchanges.
Yes. I think that there are few ways, motivations, let's say, for going on exchange that you were mentioning. For sometimes students, at least that I met, sometimes actually are selecting the country based on maybe their dream country or something. So maybe someone likes to live in Spain or something like that, and then they would like figure out which universities are offered from there, or which courses they can listen from there. But in my case, I was, for example, going through the whole list of offered universities or partnership universities. I was searching for programs um, for computer science branch that are offered in English, actually, because it could happen sometimes that some countries on the bachelor level have just in their native language programs, which could be sometimes maybe a bit tricky, but all of them usually offer the support with learning that language as well. But yeah, in my case, that was the main thing that somehow shaped the course, that the structure of the programs that I would like to listen, subjects to take, and then it was much easier actually this year to write motivational letter, like as Igor was mentioning. Now when it was like structured, you actually know exactly on which answers you can which questions you should answer, so it was easier to explain your motivation and to actually express why you are interested in something in particular. But yeah, regarding that, it could be maybe, since I'm non-EU student, it could be maybe more stressful with all visa problems. Ira was already mentioning the situation that is suggested to go in the second semester because of the whole visa things. But in my both exchanges, I went in the first semester, and for the first time it was hard regarding accommodation and similar, because we should provide our address in Slovenia as well. But for the second one, I'm actually using the option of having additional funds from Erasmus to cover the accommodation costs in Koper, which means I'm paying a bed even though I'm not sleeping there. But yeah, thankfully we have this additional funds that could help us with those things. So then in the end, we can still have the amount that was specified for the country, like in total, like the whole scholarship. So I'm not like losing anything here by still paying there. So that was very helpful thing, I would say.
Thanks. We have a question from a student, actually.
Hello. My question is actually about the visa process. Could you explain what you went through during taking the visa? Since you're in the first semester there. Thank you.
Yes, sure. So it depends sometimes from country to country, from where are you coming from. If you are allowed as citizen of one country to even come to the other country without having this smaller visa before, like short term, super short term, that's how I call it. But so just for entering the country. But in my case, that wasn't the situation. I just applied over here in Slovenia for the visa, and then thankfully, there is a regulation inside of European Union that is saying that if you are part of Erasmus program or some other program that is by bilateral agreements between institutions, in this case universities, you can go on exchange by having visa from one country to another. So, which means there wasn't need for me to apply for additional visa in Czech Republic. but that would be as well the option to just maybe apply for the visa in Czech Republic and apply for Slovenian visa once I'm back. But on the other hand, yeah, a few of my colleagues that are currently with me over here in Prague, they unfortunately weren't able to enter are not allowed to enter Czech Republic without having this super small visa beforehand. So that's why they applied in Koper in Upravna enota in administration unit for a bit faster what's the word, to get the visa faster. So he was able to get the visa in the middle of September, as much as I know. So then he was able with that one to go on exchange, which was super helpful for him because there wasn't a need to then apply once again for additional Czech visa or something like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope.
Yeah, I just want to add a few information. So if you're a student coming from abroad and studying at FAMNIT, you need to reapply every year for a student temporary residence permit, right? And the best thing to do is this in July or as soon as possible. Even if you haven't enrolled in the next year, then just apply and then you can provide a certificate of enrollment at a later date. But this sometimes get moved if you don't, if you're not enrolled by September, they can't approve your application sooner. So this is why it's a bit problematic if you're planning to go to Erasmus in the first semester, but you haven't enrolled until September. If you finish all the exams in June and you have enrolled in the third year, you can ask the student's office to hurry up with your application to the next year, so you can have like the certificate of enrollment sooner than you would have it normally. That's one thing. And another thing is that, as Milan already mentioned, you as Erasmus student, you have rights when you go study abroad, that you have certain rights as EU citizens, right? Because you already have a temporary residence permit in an EU country and certain special conditions apply. Sometimes it depends from country to country because Slovenia has its own set of rules, so as many other EU countries. But generally, the whole procedure should be simplified. That's kind of the main idea. Yeah.
I can also add my experience about the visa, if that's okay.
Okay.
I think Milan wanted to add something.
Yeah,
and
I just wanted to had small comment like as well. So just to have in mind for students that it's not on all universities that the study year is starting on 1st of October or the dates that are around it. So I think Luka can say in Finland it should be, if I remember correctly, beginning of September or maybe even late August, something like that. And over here in Czech Republic, it was the end of September, but as well, universities are offering like intense courses of the language. So for example, I had a chance to, when I was first time on exchange, to be like, to come two weeks prior to the start of the year in order to get used to the country and to participate in the intense Czech language course, which was some, let's say, one level, so that we can have better and easier communication in like everyday life, let's say, in Czech Republic. So just to keep in mind that it's not that like all documents should be ready by 1st of October. I mean, sometimes it is, but it's better as Tanya was saying that we should apply as soon as possible, if even possible in July. So yeah.
Yeah, Igor, you want to add something?
I just want just to tell my experience about that question. So how I did it, basically, at the end of the August, I actually also submitted an application for the Slovenian visa, and I also gave almost all of the documents, but I got the confirmation that my visa is in the process. And then I came here to Malta in the middle of the September. And one important thing about Malta, they do not recognize Slovenian visas at all. So that means you have to get a Maltese visa either way. And now I have prepared almost all of the documents. I only have troubles now with the rental declaration form. or the rental agreement because I live in a hostel, which do not give out those documents at all. And now I have a whole other meeting with the director of this facility, but that's not really what matters. But what's important is that for the Maltese visas, you in general have almost all of the same documents as you have in the Slovenian visa. So that's basically maybe just a little bit easier because you basically do all the documents as for Slovenia, you do it as for the Maltese. You just make a copy of every single document twice, and that's it. The only thing I know for the Maltese visa, they do not need the certificate of impunity or the certificate that you weren't ever criminally accused of something or whatever. They do not need that. However, as far as the finances go, they specifically require a bank statement with at least 840 euros per month to be on your credit account, not 400 and however it is in Slovenia. It's almost twice as much. So be mindful of that as well. And one other thing I wanted to add as for the Slovenian visa is that I actually I put out all of documents that I only didn't give out the certificate of enrollment and the health insurance because I didn't have them in the moment. So I will actually just send, I actually yesterday sent them the rest of those documents via email. And so far they didn't tell me anything. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that's probably the best option, like everyone said, just to for the Slovenian visa, apply for it as soon as possible in July or August is also fine. And just be mindful that some countries will either way ask for their visa as well, like what's happening with me right now. But at the end of the day, it's nothing that it isn't unknown. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you for your experience as well. Any other questions, maybe? No? Well, I have a question about the start of the academic year. I know that Luca started the academic year like in beginning of September, right? In Finland. Oh yeah, sorry, in January, second semester. Yeah, right. So beginning of September and beginning of January is for Finland. And I think Estonia is the same. And both of you probably, Igor and Milan, started in October or this, yeah.
I actually started the last week of September.
Okay.
A week earlier, basically.
Yeah. So students need to be mindful about this as well, so they know how to plan. What about like the orientation days or weeks or preparatory days? Did you have any of that?
Milan, would you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. So this time my study started at the same time as on Famit, so it was I think 2nd or 3rd of October, and we had orientation day starting from 25th, which was Monday. So like we had 5 days to participate to some events of ESN, to orientation days of university, to choose the courses once again if some changes maybe occurred in between. And yeah, 2 years ago when I was in the different university in Czech Republic, that year I think we started on 25th and I came around 8 or something like that because I had 2 weeks of intense Czech language course. So yeah, that's like timetable in general. Yeah. But university is letting us know like of all of those opportunities, like options, where should we come and what should we do, or there are at least suggestions. If we can do it, then it's the best because it will help us for the period after that. Thank you, Igor. You can go ahead.
No worries.
Question before we close off from me. I have another question. So how did you find, I already asked about the whole process, but what would you recommend to students applying for Erasmus studies abroad? Like any recommendations? How was your experience with the international office at FAMNIT or the international office abroad? Did you receive all the information? You know, any tips, tricks that you need to be mindful of, things like this?
Well, as for the international offices, I actually been very satisfied with the international office here. They also responded very quickly, efficiently, and gave all the information needed. but I heard because there are also multiple coordinators for Erasmus students here, and I've heard there are other coordinators here that do not respond to emails at all, so it's a little bit of a lottery game who will you end up with, but thank God I got a good coordinator. And as far as like tips and tricks, the only thing I would suggest is as well to search for accommodation as soon as possible. I get at least for Malta, because it's very, very hard to find it, and to find it at a reasonable price as well, because Malta in general is more expensive than in Slovenia. That's something that I would suggest, and in general, just to be open with people as much as you can, because you're going to make a lot of good friends here.
I would like to add mine, point of view on this question. Firstly, with International Office of Family, actually, I remember I was knocking on the door several times with not that smart questions even at the time. But yeah, I'm very happy because always they were happy to help. And if they even didn't have proper information, they did their best to let me know in the upcoming days what is actual situation. So that was very useful. On the other hand, for the hosting institution, in my case, I was then lucky as well. It was they were responsive, I would say. I had a bit of problems with accommodation as well because I was a bit late with the whole procedure. But the situation in Czech Republic actually is that all students have opportunity to go to the dormitories, which are more affordable, much more affordable than private apartments and similar. And in this case, with accommodations, I even contacted the ESN of Charles University and asked for suggestions. Should I maybe stay in that dormitory, or maybe move to some private accommodation, because I wasn't sure. In some dormitories, it's like shared bathroom and kitchen on the floor. In some other, it's not. So you're not sure in the beginning to which one you would end up in. But yeah, that's how ESN would help as well, or international office. So yeah, with international office as well over here, we had some good suggestions on orientation day as well. Like some courses are maybe harder than others, so all help is useful, I would say, from them.
Luca, any tips?
Yeah, my tips for, can you hear me? Yeah. My tips for students wanting to go abroad is just don't be afraid, because you will have fun there and you will get around, get to know the city, get to know everything. I came in Finland at the 1st of January. It was the night and there was nobody there. It was dark and I was all alone on the streets of Turku and I have no idea where I was gonna go. But I had my landlord come pick me up because I applied for the residence, or for the household where I was gonna stay earlier. So I was talking to him. I was talking to my tutor. I got home there safely. The next day we had orientation days. They also they had an ESN section there. I met my tutor. My tutor showed me around the cafeterias, everything, the city, the people, and in just 1 week I was feeling at home. I was not lost at all. Everything was fine, perfect. So just my tip is just get to know around, get to know people, walk around, just join if the country you go to has an ESN section, go to their events, and that's about it. So we live in the 21st century. You can't get lost. Everyone's just make friends and you won't get lost. You won't feel alone or anything like that. So
Milan, would you like to add something?
Yeah, now that Luca was saying, one thing that I would like to add just is that I have a feeling that on exchange we would usually hang out a lot with other exchange students, other international students, but I would emphasize as well to try and to meet more local students, and because they could show off their own national tradition, culture, and similar, to experience it in the best way possible. So yeah, I would just like to remind students to not keep just the crew inside the international lines, let's say like that.
Thank you. I think we can all agree that participating in study mobility opportunity is beneficial from various perspectives. So once again, I would like to thank you all joining us today, especially I would like to thank you to Luca, Milan, and Igor for sharing your experiences and advices with us. And hopefully we'll see each other for some other opportunity to celebrate Erasmus chances together. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.